Hi all, welcome to the 16th episode of my Hypertravel with Hardie video series, in which we'll see the world through my eyes from the pictures I took on trips I made within the last 10, 15, 20 years, last 50 years. And today we'll be going to Myanmar, also known as Burma. So far it feels good here in Yangon. I'm flashing on Hanoi 1996, but it could just as easily be Vientiane 2000 or Phnom Penh 2004. That sweet spot between development and primitiveness, when there are enough amenities to allow indie travel as opposed to fail-safe group tours, but not so overrun with travelers that it spoils the reason you came in the first place. Or maybe it's like Chiang Mai, Thailand, 1992. That means you'll get a lot of smiles without too much trying and a lot of scammers trying to get their hands in your pants pockets. It also means a lot of signs in a language you don't understand and very few in the international language, English, such as it is. So what there is for foreigners are few and far between, and higher priced to boot. But that assessment should be qualified. Prices are higher in those obvious tourist gathering places, such as Bogyok Market, which is otherwise very interesting and nice, a central market for crafts and local products, the likes of which are getting harder and harder to find in this world of malls and suburbs. But menus without prices in the down and dirty comedores, not a good sign, but not to worry. Surprisingly, you can find some very good prices and some very sanitary conditions in those same malls that I usually abhor. Like good quality espresso for a little more than $1 USD, which would cost otherwise twice that in the fancy places near the central market. Go figure. Moral of the story, avoid the touts and the loud shouts, as the best things in life are quiet, sweet, and discreet. And the Burmese are sweet, notwithstanding the seemingly random violence that still haunts the country along its edges and among its minorities. So Myanmar has the dubious distinction of being the only Buddhist country with overt religious violence, at the same time that it has a reputation as the strictest of countries in the Theravada school of Buddhism. A major interest of mine. So I went to check out a Buddhist meditation center called Dhammajyoti, and it looks pretty good. 10-day retreats available that apparently are free and with room and board. Of course, you're expected to meditate most of the day every day, but that's what you want, right? Yeah, right. This is not Buddhism light. Sridagan Pagoda is the big tourist draw in Yangon, of course. Gold and glittery and crawling with tourists, pilgrims. Golden spires to inspire you and money changers right there in the temple to relieve you of all the extra pounds under your belt. There are also many lesser sites if you want to get totally stupid with them. A Buddhist bang for your buck, £5 a head, and the palatial state is yours and theirs for the day. They even have Christian churches with meetings on Sunday, hell of a deal. There are ATMs everywhere, and nobody gets too hot and bothered by a creased banknote now. Very civilized for a country on its way to the tourist big time. There's a Chinatown and a downtown, but I can't tell the difference. But this is still old Asia. You'll see things here that long ago disappeared elsewhere, things that only poverty can produce. Enjoy it while it lasts. Next stop, Bagan. The first thing you notice on the bus from Yangon to Bagan is the place looks totally empty. As Gertrude Stein put it so aptly when describing Oakland, California, there is no there. Now this may indeed be the new road, so avoiding the population centers directly, but still, in Thailand, every available parcel of land would have a for sale sign before the road was even finished, and there would be new developments springing up as fast as the equipment could be trucked in from China. But when we finally do get off the main road and into some villages, then you see why. It's poor, dirt poor. If communism stopped the clock for those countries that only began ticking again in 1991, then Burmese socialism stopped the clock, which is now only beginning to tick some quarter century after its common neighbors in Southeast Asia. Better late than now, I suppose. But you'll see things here that have long been rendered obsolete elsewhere in the world. Like horse-drawn carts for locals at reasonable prices. And ox carts too in the countryside, and taxis in general are reasonably priced for that matter. No small miracle in a non-Uber part of the world, and those teakwood storefronts that you occasionally see in small outback Thai towns are still de rigueur here, where almost all houses in small villages are still that stilted wooden variety. The town of Nyong U serves as a support base for the nearby ruins of Bagan, but there isn't much to it, truth be told. Just a long strip of funky shops, banks, airline offices, hotels, and tour guides that feel like they landed here from another planet, which they did, I suppose, after the government ran all the locals out of what is now called Old Bagan, the densest core of ancient temples and ceremonial structures. It's all pretty loosely organized, and if you're serious about temple spelunking, you better hire a guide. Otherwise, you could wander around on bicycle or e-bike and just get a sense of the splendor of it all, which is what I did. It lacks the intricate detail of Angkor Wat in Kampuchea, but makes up for it in the sheer size and scale of the 42 square miles in display of antiquity. If you want the money shot of balloons over Bagan, then you might need to ride in one yourself, but it likely won't be cheap. And then there's Mount Popa. Aside from the Field of Dreams itself, Mount Popa is another convenient and nearby excursion for pilgrimages to the mountaintop temple and knotfield haunts, full of local pilgrims and a few tourists too. Now, I don't know what you've heard about Myanmar's emergence onto the tourist scene, but I assure you, it ain't too late. No, it's not the cheapest place in Southeast Asia, but neither was Vietnam back in 1995 or Laos in Y2K. That takes time, and by then, it'll be overrun and the locals will be jaded. Get it? This is the last domino to fall, and old Asia will be just a pleasant memory of coolies with canvas stacks on their backs, water buffalo plowing fields, crowded wet markets piled high with produce, and dry ones with clothing and crafts and antiques and such. Women and men with balance beams across the small of their backs with 2 heaps of something or other in baskets carefully balanced so as not to kill the messenger. This is Burma. This is Asia. This is planet Earth. This is the year 2017. Everything changes, not some of the time, but all of the time, and the things that are gone will not come back, except in memory. There's only one catch. Without those memories, you're limited to your immediate field of sensory perception and nothing else. And that's poverty, my friend, poverty of the worst kind. Unless you're Buddhist and or lost in meditation, word to the wise, see Burma before it all changes and something classic is lost forever. To go up north, then you're on the road to Mandalay. Sounds romantic and all, but it isn't so much really. Just asphalt and gravel like anywhere else. Fortunately, there are other options, like the train, plane, or boat. I'd like to say that the boat ride to get here from Bagan makes it all worthwhile, but it doesn't, not really, though admittedly, it is more comfortable than the pothole roads and beetle-chewing Burmese drivers. At any given moment, the average Burmese working stiff is working a wad of chew that would make a Cincinnati Red pitcher green with envy. But don't startle him, or he may accidentally unload a dollop of spittle your direction that just might ruin your day. At least they don't drive like the maniacs in Thailand. Burma is chilled by comparison, and the roads simply won't allow it. But the river trip really has nothing much to see, not until you get to Sagaing. And that's an easy day trip from Mandalay anyway. It's not like there are loads of cool river villages and towns to view along the way. There just aren't. So I'd say the river trip is optional, at best. Burma is not cheap anyway, so save your money for something more worthwhile, like paying your entry fee to selected sites, like the archaeological zone at Bagan or the human zoo at Inlay Lake. Free sarcasm available upon request. But I don't think Mandalay deserves the bum rap that it sometimes gets. Sure, it's a big, busy city, but I've seen worse. At least it's walkable, something you'd have difficulty saying about Bangkok, Jakarta, or many other places in Southeast Asia, or the world either, for that matter. And what it lacks in charm, it makes up in open space, including a massive palace complex and a commanding hill as pilgrimage site like only Burma really knows how to do. Okay, so maybe China too. What I don't like so much about Mandalay is that the quality of refreshing innocence available elsewhere seems to be singularly lacking here. And of course, that's most easily measurable among the taxi drivers, whereas in Yangon, the first price quoted is pretty accurate and honest, God bless them. In Mandalay, that doesn't hold true. And in fact, they can be as rapacious as anywhere in the world. They beat me on the price from the boat landing to my hotel, so I was on guard after that. So yes, Mandalay is guilty of the same crimes as Paris and the same samsara pitfalls as Kathmandu, but it ain't all that bad, really. No, Mandalay is not a place to fall in love with, more like a place to bide your time. It's a place for life to happen while you're making other plans. Those plans could include excursions in any directions, though Shan State to the east is the big lure for me, with close relations to ethnic ties in Thailand and Laos and China too. The far east of the state is arguably more Thai than Burmese, and an open question for me as to whether and how well I might be able to communicate, what with my knowledge of Standard Thai, Laotian, and Northern Thai dialect. The Burmese and Thai language have little or nothing in common, unlike Khmer and Thai, unless you count the similarities between the Thai and Burmese words for two-wheel conveyances, motosai in Thai and motobai in Burmese, apparently deriving from a common Sanskrit root. Ha ha. Oh well, I guess it'll have to wait, unless my meditation center in Yangon falls through, something Burma has become known for, apparently. Though not the inspiration for this trip, but that's where I'll go after a brief stop at Inle Lake, and that's worth more to me than all the travel in the world. Mindlessness or mindfulness? Tough choice. Yeah, right. For the first time, I'm annoyed at Burma, possibly even pissed. At having to pay an entrance fee to the tourist complex at Inle Lake, based in Yangshui. I mean, preservation of an archaeological zone is costly and expensive too, but Inle Lake has none of that. And Yangshui is a bit shabby, if you don't mind me saying. A coat of dust covering the entire affair, tourists included. What are we paying for anyway? But the main offense is the mere proliferation of tourist amenities, albeit without the aforementioned infrastructure. This is something that has been lacking refreshingly so far in Burma, and really the reason to justify the higher prices, like paying a premium bride price for a virgin. But the main marketing pitch seems to be toward millennial malingerers looking for alcohol and a place to drink it. But my fears are largely misplaced, for now at least. This is hardly Vang Vieng in Laos of a few years ago, or Siem Reap, much less Khao San Road, or God forbid, the full moon party. After Inle Lake, there was nothing to do but to go to my meditation retreat in Yangon. And it was good, a full week. From there, it was back to the border of Thailand with a brief stop in Myanmar. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.